It's time for another county cricket roundup with me, John Pennington and Matt Carter. Morning, Matt. How are you doing?
Morning, I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. It's been another exciting week of county cricket. The focus shifted from 2020 to one-day cricket, the Royal London One Day Cup. We had 4 excellent quarter-finals. We got very lucky with the weather, and we're just going to sort of talk you through some of the highlights and obviously look ahead to the semi-finals and then look ahead to the return of the LV County Championship. Matt, let's start with the first quarter-final, then Nottinghamshire beating Derbyshire. I have to say, Nottinghamshire, they might be missing Alex Hales and Harry Gurney off with England, but it didn't seem to hinder them too much, did it?
No, they were just a class apart from Derbyshire. I mean, as we anticipated that they would be. I mean, they've got so many high-quality players that even to lose a guy of Hales' ability, you've got people like James Taylor, Michael Lum. They are just a star-studded lineup, and it was Taylor who laid the foundation for the victory. He, with an exceptional 150, really had to add more evidence to those who were really clamouring for him to be called into the England fold. That one is a point of contention, but I think it was always going to need Notts to have a really poor day and Derbyshire to have a very good day for it to be the reverse result. I mean, you almost needed Notts to have 10 less overs than Derbyshire to make a genuine game of it. But Derbyshire could be happy to reach the quarterfinals, and unfortunately they've come up against probably one of the top 3 all-round sides in the country.
Yeah, Nottinghamshire probably my pick to win it at this stage, and it was interesting. Obviously, James Taylor scoring a big 100 and then England collapsing so badly soon after. Durham beating Yorkshire in the second quarter-final. That one, a little bit of an upset, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Yorkshire looked on course to chase Durham's, I think it was 237 down. They were 133 for 2, and it looked fairly regulation for them. I mean, they had Gary Balance at the crease, which is a little bit contentious considering other sides didn't have their England players available. And you anticipated they were going to get Durham's score, but Durham fought back excellently, actually. John Hastings has been an excellent overseas signing for them. Chris Rushworth found a little bit of form, and Paul Collingwood is having an exceptional season with the ball. I think his economy rate is definitely below 4. I think he's got something like 14 wickets, and he's also been brilliant with the bat, so pretty much evergreen Paul Collingwood. And that was actually Durham's 4th consecutive Royal London win, so they are building a little bit of momentum, but as you say, it was a shock. Yorkshire did top their group, but fair play to Durham, who were giving themselves a chance of some silverware.
Yes, and Paul Collingwood has signed a new contract this week as well, so a very good week for him and his side as well. Warwickshire then met Essex, that of course a repeat, if you like, of the 2020 quarter-final, and a repeat of the results. Well, I mean, Warwickshire at the moment on a massive high, having won as Birmingham, I suppose we should say, in the 2020 finals day, and they just keep on winning.
Yeah, they're really on a roll at the minute. I mean, they're trying to avoid this talk of the treble, but they are looking exceptionally good. They've got all the momentum with them, and in this tournament, I think them and Nottinghamshire have probably been the best 2 sides. You just look at their lineup, and there really isn't many holes in it. Against Essex, when they needed a wicket, they arrived. Similarly, as they did in the 2020 final, whenever they need one, they seem to find a way from somewhere to get one. You look at that attack, and from all corners, they've got excellent performers. I mean, Jeetan Patel, we know about him, but Hannon Dolby was exceptional again against Essex, and I think that they're perhaps even more suited to 50-over cricket. I think their batsmen, they perhaps don't have the biggest amount of hitting power, but in 50-over cricket, I think this is probably their best format, which I think just shows you what a good side they are. I mean, Jonathan Trott has got some more runs this week, and Ricky Clark with an exceptional all-round performance, and it's not an easy place to go to Chelmsford to win, and they did so under the lights and were very good in doing it. And for Essex, it's frustrating. They've been very good in one-day cricket, but they've lost both knockout games they've faced, and their season unfortunately looks nearly over now, which is a shame considering the one-day talent they have got. But I think a lack of bowlers again cost them.
And the final quarter-final, Kent against Gloucestershire. I mean, what about the form of Sam Billings? He scored shed loads of runs at a massive strike rate, and again was on form here to dispatch Gloucestershire.
Yeah, he's brilliant against Sam Billings. I mean, he just turned the entire game around. I think he hit 61 off 36. At that point, Kent were meandering to a under par total on a difficult pitch as well. It wasn't easy to bat, and he just came in and looked like he was playing on a completely different surface surface to everybody else. I mean, it was a nervy encounter, as you might expect. These two teams who haven't played in many knockout games in recent years, and that Billings innings just lifted the tension a little bit for Kenton. Gloucestershire, unfortunately, just couldn't find a batsman to produce a similar level of innings, and I think they were chasing around 250 odd. You thought they might get there at one stage, but they just lost a cluster of wickets. And Kent, I would say, they deserve their last four spot. I think they've only lost once in this tournament, and they've had a brilliant run in it. So fair play to Kent, and just say Sam Billings is certainly knocking on the door at the minute, and one to definitely keep an eye on.
Yeah, there's been a few players like that this year. We've sort of talked about Jason Roy this year as well. He's certainly another one who's, some people are already saying get him in the England team. Perhaps it's a little bit too early for me just yet. So the semi-finals, Matt, we've got, let's start with, it'll be Kent against Warwickshire. Which way do you see that one going, and will there be any potential sort of home advantage here?
Yeah, I think they're going to be up against it. Kent, unfortunately, going to Edgbaston, it's not going to be easy for them. We've already spoken about Warwickshire's merits, and I just think Kent's bowling attack compared to Warwickshire, it is pretty much a no contest, and I think they are facing a mountain. But in knockout cricket on a one-off occasion, you never know. As we said earlier, for Derbyshire to have beaten Notts, they needed Notts to have a poor day, and them to have a very good one. It's a similar situation here, but Kent have got a decent amount of momentum in this tournament, and Warwickshire playing a lot of cricket. It might catch up with them, and you never know, as we say, but Warwickshire definitely massive favourites for that one with the form that they're in.
And on a similar sort of vein, would you make Nottinghamshire slightly, not maybe massive favourites for their game against Durham, but favourites nevertheless?
Yeah, a little bit close this one. I mean, these sides did actually meet in the group stage, and Durham actually won on that occasion, although it was courtesy of 100 from Ben Stokes, so I don't know how much we can read into that. It's intriguing, actually, all four teams have come from the same group, perhaps suggesting that there was a little bit of imbalance there, but certainly Nottinghamshire favourites, but as we know that they're a little bit circumspect in knockout situations, so Durham will probably take heart from that, and as we mentioned, they're on a run of 4 consecutive limited overs wins. They've got a lot of decent one-day cricketers. I mean, Scott Borthwick and Stoneman, who scored 100 against Yorkshire, they've got decent batsmen. As we said, John Hastings has been exceptional. If they can get a service with a bit of spice in the wicket, I think Durham seamers are dangerous, and so, yeah, Notts favourites, but not by as much as Warwickshire over Kent, I'd say.
I'm going to put you on the spot and get you to pick a winner of the tournament overall. Matt, I've already gone for Nottinghamshire. Who are you going for?
I went for Warwickshire in the T20, so I think I'll stick with them for this one. They just seem very, very good in high intensity situations. So yeah, I'm going to go for a Warwickshire double, I think.
Good stuff. I'm going to have to look up and see who I predicted to win this at the very start of the year. It may even be one of the teams that aren't in it anymore, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'll have a little look at that and maybe tweet that one out later. Let's move on then to the County Championship, because that's back this week after a little bit of a break for the 2020 final day, and then this week of one-day cup stuff. Looking at Division 1, Matt, there's a few things still to be sorted out. We've still got the title, and of course we've got teams battling out for safety as well. What are the sort of main games that we're looking forward to this week?
Yeah, we've got 2 really intriguing games this week. Of course, it's the Roses clash. Yorkshire go to Lancashire, which is not the most timely trip to Old Trafford that Yorkshire would want, just boasting a 6-point lead over Nottinghamshire. They've not beaten them in 15 games, I think it is, although I think the large proportion of those have been draws, but nonetheless they're battling history a little bit there, Yorkshire. If they can get a win over that, you'd say they are perhaps title favourites. I think I've read on the Yorkshire website this morning that they're hoping to have Balance and Joe Root available for the last 2 championship fixtures, which certainly would give a massive edge, you would feel, if they can get Plunkett back fit as well. And they are going into that one off the back of 2 consecutive wins. But that said, Lancashire did beat Durham last time out, which was a huge result for them, and they just building a little bit of championship momentum, and victory is essential for them. And of course, Nottinghamshire, their rivals, are playing Durham, another side who are battling survival. I say Notts with the slightly easier fixture there. Durham are really struggling in their championship. Their batting form's evaporated. They've lost 2 of the last 3. They've only lost 3 all season. Without Graham Onions, Ben Stokes is no longer available. Chris Rushworth hasn't been the same bowler, so a lot of pressure on them for John Hastings, and they're looking to turn it around. So I'd say Notts with a slightly easier task, but then if both of them draw, suddenly Warwickshire could come into the reckoning in there, playing a Middlesex side who have seemingly stopped playing around mid-June. They've they've really gone off the gas. So it's all to play for. I think coming into next week, it is going to be, we are going to get a greater indication of where the title is going to go, and we're building up to the big one next week, which is Nottinghamshire against Yorkshire. So I'd say 2 weeks' time, we're probably going to know where the title is going to be heading.
And what about in Division 2? Still a few things to be decided in terms of promotion, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there is a possibility that after this weekend's round of games, things could be all but wrapped up. I mean, Worcestershire are going to Derbyshire, where they should probably win, but that said, Derbyshire off the back of 2 consecutive wins, and Worcestershire their first loss last time out against Gloucestershire. Maybe they're just getting a little bit nervy, but I think their cushion is too great to be caught. And Hampshire are playing Leicestershire, so you'd anticipate Hampshire would breed a Leicestershire side who I think haven't won in, I think it's 28 championship games, which is just a phenomenally poor return for them. So if Hampshire win that and Worcestershire win that game, and I think the Division 2 promotion spots are all but sealed, especially with the likes of Essex not in action this week.
And finally, Matt, the game, maybe, which one would you sort of pick out to go along to this week? As you say, we've got quite a few tasty-looking clashes in the county championship, but where would you go if you could only go to one game? Yeah,
I think I'd go to the Roses clash. Obviously, there's so much riding on this fixture, and even without that, it is always an intense game of cricket. So I think that is certainly going to be the one to watch. But similarly, Durham and Nottinghamshire is one with connotations at both ends of the table, and fingers crossed the weather is going to hold out, which the forecast suggests it will do.
Yeah, we've had a couple of weeks of really exciting county cricket. Let's hope the weather does hold, and this time next week we'll be talking about more exciting action on the pitch. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning, Matt. It's been a pleasure as always talking to you and getting the lowdown on county cricket.
No, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you very much indeed for watching us here on Cricket World TV.